So, do you like my tree?
I think it's lovely.
That's what Bumper decorated last year.
It's beautiful.
Bumper and I did that. He put the lights on, and he helped put the decorations on. He didn't do that before. Because I don't do decorations. I said, this year you can.
Yeah, that's perfect. Look at this.
Uh-huh.
How old is he?
8 weeks. 9
Oh,
weeks.
He's the same age.
He's so happy. He likes you.
Yeah, we would have gotten you a dog like that from day one. That's the size
Oh,
you
he's
need.
so tiny. I wasn't expecting you to be so small. That one of Caitlin's, he is so busy. He just jumps around, goes all over the place.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
Real
He's so
friendly.
cute, yes. He's got a wonderful disposition, yes. From time to time.
Are you going to be friendly too? I wasn't expecting him to be so small.
Isn't he little? He's just so tiny. Come on in here and hold him.
Have you got him? Is he best friend?
Oh, yeah, he's real housebroken.
What's he going to do to you? He's going to shoot you. He's going to shoot you. Are you posing?
Well, he's very into fashion, you know, with all these outfits he has, so he probably is modeling.
Yeah, showing a skinny neck, are you?
I just
Yeah.
like to see who's going to put all that stuff on before you goes out there. Before you get out there, you won't have to go. We was little. We was lucky we got one thing. If we got two things, boy, it was really something. We never got a lot of stuff. Never. When I see these kids, it looks like a toy store. They can't enjoy anything that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
When did you celebrate Christmas? Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? Do you remember?
Oh, Christmas Day, Christmas morning, like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Did you do anything? Did you have a tree? Did you have
sure.
a...
We always had a tree. We had candles on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trick.
And in the evening, my dad would light the candles. But somebody was stood right there beside the tree all the time those candles was burning. Then after a while, after everybody lost interest, then he would blow them all out. But I remember talking about getting a lot of stuff for Christmas. One Christmas, my sister and I, we each got a doll. And that's all we got. And one Christmas, I remember we each got a muff of...
A muff that you put around your collar and put your hands in?
I got a white one, and she had got a brown one, I think. Of course, I was 3.5 years younger than her, you know. And I got this little white muff and this little, it was like a collar or something. And boy, I thought I was, you know, I had
Very
struck
special.
pay dirt. But that's all we got. And we was all excited. I remember one year I got a pair of roller skates. But there was 5 of us. And by the time we got around everybody, and now everybody got something, we got a lot of stuff around the tree.
Did you put up your tree weeks in advance or just that night?
No, just maybe a day or so before. Yeah. But when I see these kids now, they don't even know what they have. They just pick up a package, tear the paper off, throw it aside, and pick up something. They don't even know what was in that package.
Now, did you have to cut down your own tree? Did you go out to a farm and cut it down and bring it in?
No, we bought the tree.
Yeah, they had regular areas that sold them? Yeah.
They were in the city. They
Oh,
were
sure,
city
we was
kids.
in the city. We had trees down the street from our place. They had a...
What else did you put on them? Did you string popcorn or did you do
we
paper chains?
We had Christmas tree ornaments just like everybody else had. But we always had a live tree, but there wasn't such a thing as an artificial tree at that time.
Now, did you get together with all your mom's family or anybody Christmas
My
Eve?
mom, we didn't have anybody around only us.
Where was your mom's family?
My oldest sister, she had her family. And that was when people separated from our
Right.
immediate family. But that's all there was, just us. But I can understand this. These kids don't get to enjoy anything. They got too much. They don't enjoy nothing then.
I read an article about that, saying how excessive Christmas has gotten. That, you know,
Yeah.
it used to be you got one present and really cherished that one gift, whatever it was. And the Christmas wasn't the 6-week celebration it is now, you know, it was just that one night. And you got ready the night before and celebrated that day.
Right?
Was there any specific meals that you always had for Christmas? Anything that was...
Menu?
Nothing. You must remember when I was little, that was around World War I. Remember, See, it was around 1918. I'd be about 10 years old.
That's right, yeah.
And things wasn't too plentiful then. And we didn't get a lot of toys. I don't remember ever getting toys. I don't remember.
You got something you needed, like a
Just
muff
one year I
or
got
a
a pair of
doll.
roller skates, if you want to call that a toy.
Yeah.
And, but we didn't get a lot of stuff.
Were your gifts wrapped, or were they
Yeah, they
just
was
under the tree?
When we got the muff and the fur,
Yeah.
it was in a square box. you know.
Okay.
And boy, I was real tickled to that. I would say I had a red coat. My mother got me a red coat for that winter, you know. And I put that white fur around there, and I had my little muff, you know. Hey, I was Miss Fifth Avenue.
They didn't wrap anything, and there was no ribbons.
No, she said they did wrap.
No ribbons. It just was in a box, you know.
In a
and,
box. But no ribbon and
so
no wrapping.
my dad would say, well, this is Mary, this is for you, and Florence, this is for you, and Marge, this is for you. And well, we was all tickled to death.
Did
Your
you go to
dad did.
church Christmas Eve? Or?
Yeah, we had a Christmas play, always. The children always had a Christmas play on Christmas Eve. And that was the best part of Christmas because the kids would get up there and go to say their speeches, you know. Of course, they had practice ahead of time, but somebody would get up there and about the middle, they get stage fright and they forget what they're supposed to say. And they'd stand there and they'd twist their skirts, or the boys would pull their shirts out of their pants and stand there. And somebody wouldn't take their hand and take them off the platform, or somebody else would go up, you know.
They froze in place and couldn't even get off the stage sometimes.
Yeah, but that was part of the program, you know.
Now, did you go till Christmas Eve? I mean, till midnight?
No, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
But church was a very important part of your life.
Oh, sure, we practiced. Oh, you'd go after school, you know, and practice for this program. Oh, start around Thanksgiving time, you know, and everybody had a speech to say, and maybe you was part of a program where there was a song to sing, or maybe they'd have some kind of a little pageant or something where this group of people had something to say or
But
something.
your parents were good church people. They went every Sunday to Sunday school and church, and all your kids went. Everybody that was there.
Were you raised in that Baptist church
Mm-hmm.
that we had attended to?
Mhm.
Oh, that's nice.
Mhm. Yeah. But everybody went. We walked. We didn't.
No, that was
no
close
cars
to where
then.
you
We,
lived,
everybody walked.
wasn't it? Yeah.
It wasn't very close when you were little with little legs. It was the way down on was that over Nosplan then?
No, we lived up there in Jefferson Street at the time.
Oh, from Jefferson. Oh, that wasn't so bad. But Nosplan was a long walk.
Well, we didn't. We come through Washington Street, down over the hill there from Washington Street. But I stop and I see these kids with all this stuff. They don't appreciate anything. You know, they get too much. They don't appreciate anything.
Grandma, your background is what, German?
Scotch, Irish, and German.
Now, was there any specific
Custom?
custom that you had because of your background?
No.
Any kind of meat or any kind of
No.
traditional holiday?
My mother's mother died when she was quite small,
Mm-hmm.
and her oldest sister helped raise them.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have any traditions that I know of.
Yeah.
They never spoke for any traditions that I know of. And my father's people, my dad was the youngest one in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And the next brother to him was about 12 years old when he was born, 12 or 13 years old when he was born. And so by the time we grew up, he was, you know, everybody else, well, I guess he had two brothers that I remember one very faintly. Then the other one, Uncle Pete, I remember him, he was still living when Jerry was born. I suppose Jerry's about 4 when he died. Then my dad was still the last one of the whole family, of course.
Well, then, did you have any cousins that you celebrated Christmas with?
No, we weren't. See, we lived here in Pennsylvania, and everybody else was from Ohio.
Oh, where in Ohio?
Down around Marietta,
Oh,
down
okay.
in that area.
They had a crumb town down there.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But
Did you ever go there to visit all the crumbs?
very briefly. I didn't go as much as the other ones did.
Because you were little.
Well, even when I got bigger, I didn't go down as many times as they did. I, to tell you the truth, I didn't like it because it was in the country.
Oh.
And
She's always been a
City
city
girl.
girl. She has. She has always been a city gal.
yeah, and I was more comfortable in the city than I was in the. But the boys, they liked it
Mm-hmm.
because there was a lot of things that they could do, you know, to go out in the barn and pound the cattle and stuff like that. Well, of course, that wasn't for me. But
Now, refresh my recollection. Your brothers and sisters, their names again were?
I had 2 sisters. Is that what you want to know?
Yes,
My oldest sister, her name was Edith, and then I had brother Earl, and then there was the twins, Florence and Lawrence, and then myself, and my younger brother, Bill Henry.
So 6 of you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to begin with, there was Edith and Earl.
Earl and Pearl.
Earl and Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Well, she died when she was about 13 months old, 13, 14 months old.
And she didn't know her because
Oh,
Pearl
no,
was
she was
much
before
older.
she was before me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She would be. So Edith was first, and there was 7 years between her and Earl, and there was 5 years between Florence and Lawrence and Earl, and there's 4 years between.
So your mom had 2 sets of twins in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then there's 7 years between my youngest brother and me.
Mm-hmm. That's William Henry, who's
Mhm.
in Florida.
And he's still living. William Henry still living?
Oh no, he died.
He died.
Last Christmas.
Yeah, he died about a year
What
ago.
he died? What was it? He died about the 18th of December, wasn't it? 17th or 18th of
right before
December.
Christmas.
Do you need help?
Yeah.
No.
So this is going to be her first Christmas along too.
Would you do anything special for New Year's when your kids?
We went to church for New Year's. We had a New Year's Eve service, so that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you read a lot as kids?
When we was kids, we read a lot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we always had some books, you know, and but there wasn't much else for us to do. You know, at that time, and you didn't have those things that you have to occupy your time like you do now. But we always found something to do. We managed. But I think of all the options the kids have today.
Oh yeah,
it's
so many
amazing.
distractions.
Frightening, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's fast forward now to when you married Grandpa, you had your 2 kids, and you were Christmas Eve. Did you get into a certain routine? Did you also go to church with Maybelle and Jerry on Christmas Eve? Was there a...
Sometimes we did, but then towards the last, they didn't have Christmas Eve services.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Maybelle and Jerry was very small, we didn't live in town. We lived out of town
Okay,
because that was during the Depression,
right.
and we lived out there. And we went to the little church out there. The girls and I. Her dad didn't want to go, but the girls and I, we always went.
Grandpa Freshkorn wasn't a big churchgoer?
No, afraid not.
Yeah. Just he had no interest in it?
Well, I don't know. He just didn't want to go, but the girls and I, we always went.
Yeah. Now, did you have a tradition? Did you wake up early? Did you open presents Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or
In the morning.
in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Did Santa Claus come the night before? Would you have stockings?
Yeah, they had stockings. Mm-hmm.
Did-
We had a fireplace. You don't.
I remember your fireplace on Madison Avenue.
Yeah, you remember the fireplace was there?
It's real pretty. Yep.
Uh-huh. And we always hung their stockings there, but
It was a real dark brown brick, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you would have, did you get together with any of your brothers and sisters and their families? Would Sarah and the kids come over, or
No, not then. We mostly...
Hilda's
No.
family, or?
You mean when the kids was little?
Yeah.
When the kids was little? No, like I told you, we lived out in Sunflower Road. That was during Depression time. You didn't have the transportation you have now because you couldn't buy gas, of course. And you just didn't go very much.
Did your mom and dad come out to celebrate with you?
No, no. Like I say, you can visualize what it was like because you have never had to go through that. But people just didn't go as much as they do now. Number one, like I say, they didn't have the gasoline to go, and you just didn't do that. That's all. And of course, my mother, she always had a bunch at her place, and.
So, well, yeah, you didn't join them because that was just much, that many more heads and faces and everything else.
Well, like I said, we didn't, just in that particular period of time, there was a couple of years that we was out there in Sunflower Road. Maybe I was just a baby at that time.
Do you remember Sunflower Road?
She probably don't. She was, what was she? You was about,
Jerry,
you was about 2.5 or something, weren't you?
yeah,
We
Jerry
left
was,
there, went into Brown Street.
yeah, and Jerry was real young.
Yeah.
But then as the
Jerry
kids got
Martin.
to be older and, more of an
Well,
age
we
to
moved into
appreciate.
town whenever things began to pick up, and everybody started to get back on track again. So we moved into town then. And I think maybe I was about maybe 2.5 at the time, and Jerry was about 3.5. Or she was about 4th grade.
I only remember Washington Street. I can't go back any
Don't
further.
you remember playing with those kids, the Shaughnessy kids? And
Hardly, no.
don't you?
I remember a lot about Washington Street, but I hardly can go back further than that. Jerry can.
You remember Washington Street?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first
Yeah.
your recollection.
Yeah. How old was I?
About 4.
I remember that. So, not. Can you kids remember much before 4?
Grandma, what did you, during that Depression time, it must have been real difficult just to even afford presents.
No. No.
No, what?
We didn't even have a Christmas tree. Yeah, of course, it's hard for you to understand that.
That's right, yeah.
Because you never went through a period of
Right,
time,
where
and I
you didn't
hope you
have a
never have
Christmas
to
tree.
do that.
That's right.
But it was a very difficult time in that particular time. But we survived. We our biggest entertainment right at that particular time was making this depression plant. You put salt on a piece of coal, and it changed colors. It looked like snow, but it was different colors.
Oh.
And everybody was doing that to see what, and they would compare what their pieces of coal looked like.
It was just a little lump of coal? It wasn't, they weren't in
Any
lumps
size
then.
you wanted to use,
Right.
you did that.
And then you put salt on it with water? Or
And-
just,
Yeah, I remember right. You put salt on this, and it. I don't know whether it was the chemicals in the salt and the chemicals in the coal that had a reaction. Or not. I forget this. You always put it in addition. I think maybe you did use some water or something. That's been so long ago now. I forgot all about that.
that's interesting.
But yes, it was interesting because no two pieces of coal looked alike. But there's all over. You put this and. All over the top of this piece of coal would be all different colors, look like foam over the top.
Uh-huh. And so that was entertainment. That was, everybody would check the
Yeah,
coal
yeah.
every couple of hours to see what it looked like, probably.
Yeah, well, yeah, and everybody that had one was always different than somebody else's,
Did you try to get it in the shape of a tree or anything like
No,
that?
you
Or just a lump?
You didn't do that, or we didn't do that. We just put a piece of coal. Of course, a piece of coal, you never see 2 pieces of coal
Right.
the same size.
Right. Right.
Can I ask one question before I forget it? When you were a child, did you have stockings back then? Was that a tradition?
You mean hose?
No, when the Christmas
Oh,
stockings.
it's Christmas stocking. No,
When you
we
were a
didn't.
kid? I wondered when that kind of came into play.
Maybe it did before, but we just never was into that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That came in with the stockings were hung on the chimney with on the
Oh,
Fireplace
is that
with
what it
Care.
was?
That's from that song. That was in
Clement
1931.
Moore?
The
1931.
night before Christmas.
Yeah. Stockings were hung on the
Didn't
chimney
you write that
with
during the
care.
Depression? Do you remember, Greg?
Do you remember?
I don't know.
What do you remember about Christmas as a little girl?
What was the tradition? Yeah. Did you have,
What do you remember about Christmas?
I don't remember that much either. Christmas came and went. But one Christmas stands out in my mind a lot was I didn't take my bee. I gotta take my bee.
Yeah.
I wanted that baton so bad.
Did you get the baton?
Come back to me. I'll
Oh.
take my bee. It's so bad.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. I said nothing else on my list
Yeah.
but that baton. Was I about 8 or 10?
I imagine maybe
Was I about 8?
about that.
Of all the Christmases of my life,
You
I
was
still
on, no,
remember
we was
that
on
one.
Brown, we was on
This is
Washington.
Washington
We
Street.
would,
Washington
sure
Street.
it wasn't on Madison Street?
Madison Street, yeah, definitely, yeah. I wanted that baton so bad, and Maybelle was not around. We checked every place. So I talked to Dad. I said, you know, I've been really good. I really want that baton. There isn't any. Your mother looked all over the place.
Well, you got a baton.
Oh, you
I
got it?
was so thrilled. He said, we had that all along. He said, we had that baton all along. Because I said, there wasn't any around. Where did you get it? Where did you get it? He
Santa
said,
brought it.
oh, we had that in the cupboard all along. I was so surprised. I wanted that so bad I could touch. I could eat it. And ask me what else I got that year for Christmas. I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
But there was always so many things under the tree.
Mhm.
So many things. And then Francis got one and Dodie got one, so we were parading, I
Oh,
think,
yeah,
for the
that
next
was a
6
phase
months.
that was very important, that
Uh-huh.
particular
It was a
time.
phase. Everybody had batons. You twirled them.
Mhm.
And Dad said, your mother looked all over, Maybelle. There just isn't any around. I said, well, you should have gone shopping earlier. He said, we did. We knew real long time ago that's what you wanted. We knew a long time ago, because I think in the summertime that's what I wanted. And you'd think I would have asked for it and you would have bought it for me.
Or your birthday, or, you know.
And in the summertime, I said that's what I wanted for Christmas and never changed my mind. And that's the only thing I wanted. I said, nothing else is on my list. And Dad said, oh, we've had that up in the closet for a long time.
What other gifts do you remember
I don't
distinctly?
remember anything at any time but that baton. That was so important to me.
Yeah.
And knowing I wasn't going to get it, oh, I remember the locket.
The what?
The locket. I wanted a locket so bad.
The locket that went with the bracelet that we still have?
Yeah, And I got the locket and the bracelet one year. And I had an expansion bracelet. They were new.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I can't think of anything I ever got for Christmas.
what about traditions? Did you and Christmas morning was the big day time for you?
Yeah, Jerry and I came down. You always wrapped everything in tissue paper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you used to do that. I remember that.
Yeah.
But we didn't have paper like you have now.
No, it was everything
Tissue
was in
paper was
tissue
about
paper.
it.
And there was scads of things under the tree for Jerry and I to both open. We did that, opened everything, and then our tradition was to go to William Henry's.
Because of the kids.
Because they had 7 kids, and it was so much fun to see the excitement and the mess and the clutter with 7 kids. But we always had a good Christmas, and I don't remember the Depression. They covered it up so,
We almost didn't have a Christmas one year.
and I don't remember that.
When we first went to Washington Street, your dad wasn't working, and we wasn't going to have a Christmas. So I said, well, the kids have to have something. It's just a little thing. They got to have something. So I said, well, you're not working, and I'll go working at 5 and 10. They'll give me just enough money to give the kids something for Christmas. Because I have to have something. They can't have a Christmas for nothing. And I said, you make sure you stay with the kids, and I'll... So that's what I did. Went down at 5 and 10, and I worked about 4 days before Christmas.
Oh.
Then I was able to get them. That's the year I got the little high chairs.
You know, I do remember those high chairs, and I remember the baby beds,
The little colored doll.
and that colored doll, and I remember Raggedy Ann.
Yeah.
And Jerry and I played house a lot with those little beds, the little baby beds. And that was all Christmas, wasn't it? Those are things I remember.
Mhm.
We always got a baby doll every Christmas.
Mhm.
With those little
But if you got a doll, but they had the cutest little color dolls. They was so cute. And
We played with those a lot.
I got them a regular doll, but I got these little, they were so cute. They weren't very big, but
I remember that color. Or did I have one?
yeah.
You had one.
Oh.
It wasn't mine.
Maybe she saw Jerry's.
No,
Did
no.
Jerry
I
still
think
has
I
hers,
had
doesn't
one
she?
somewhere along the line too.
Doesn't Jerry still have hers?
And she has the baby bed, doesn't she?
I think she has that little colored doll too.
I think she does. It was
Those
in the
little
attic
dolls
on
were so
Madison.
cute. I couldn't resist them. I think they was 50 cents a piece, but you couldn't have touched them now for $10. I don't suppose.
Right, right.
But they were so cute, and the kids loved them. And
We played with those a lot. We used to play house a lot. Jerry and I played together with those.
yeah.
And I remember the high chairs and the rocking chairs, the green rocking chairs. Were
Yeah,
they for Christmas?
those were little slats. Those little rocking chairs was 98 cents a piece.
Oh my God.
And I got them each a little rocking chair, and
I
I
remember
got them
those.
those little things. That's what they had for Christmas, but they almost didn't have anything
And you only worked 4 days before
before
Christmas.
Christmas.
I'll be darned. So you just
I was
went
on the
to,
extra help. You
Yeah.
know. Maybe they always hired extra people
Uh-huh.
at Christmas time.
and so he stayed home with the kids while you did that. And you
Yeah.
probably spent your paycheck right
Well, he
there.
wasn't doing anything. He wasn't doing anything anyway. He was going to be home, but I wanted to make sure he was there. He didn't go someplace, you know, leave him
I
there
don't
by
remember
themselves.
I don't remember that. I remember the green rocking chair though, and the
You don't
baby
remember
bed.
me going to work?
Not at all.
It was only 4 days.
I don't remember. I would have remembered if my dad was babysitting,
Oh.
because that was the first.
You don't remember me going to work?
No,
for
not
that?
at all. I wonder if Jerry does.
When did you work at the phone company?
I worked at the phone company after when I was little, younger. I worked at the 5 and 10, and then when I was 18, I went to work at the telephone office.
That's where you were working when you met Granddad, right?
Hmm?
You were working there when you met Granddad.
Right, right.
But then later on when you went back to work, did the mill pay better than the phone company? Why didn't you go back to the phone company?
Why didn't I go back to the phone company? I should have stayed there to begin with. I shouldn't have quit.
Oh, really? That's that.
Yeah, you should have. It was Dad's idea, because women didn't work then.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Married women especially
No.
didn't
Right.
work.
no. But
He
I
was
should have
too
stayed
proud.
there. I should have stayed there.
But then when you did go back to work, you didn't go back to the phone company.
Well, this was many years later. See,
Uh-huh.
that was Washington Street. What was that? About 1934.
If that was 1934, I was 3, because I was born in 31.
Wasn't that around 1930? We moved on to Madison Street in 35,
I
right?
was going to say 35.
Okay, that must have been around.
30, maybe, was it 35 or 36?
We moved on Washington Street around 1939,
Madison Street.
Madison Street.
Okay, in 1939, is that
I
right?
think so. And then that must have been
I was
19. I think that was. See, we was crawling out of the Depression, and all at once there was a slump. We had a recession.
Mm-hmm.
That's when everything
Got really
dropped out
bad.
of everything again. It was such a surprise, and we hadn't had a chance to recover from the Depression, not really. And so that's when I went to. Of course, I had worked at the 5 and 10 before and there was no problem me getting a job. I knew I could get a job. There was no problem there. You know.
You were supervisor there, but never did.
To the way it was. I mean, that was dreadfully terrible and dreadfully stressful and hard for you.
Oh, that was tough.
I mean, to want a blanket for your child
That's
is...
all I wanted was so I could take her to church.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mother got her a blanket for Christmas.
Oh, see, your mom to the rescue.
Mhm.
But your mom didn't have anything either. She
Oh,
wasn't
nobody-
working. Your dad wasn't
hey.
working.
The only people had anything was people who already had stuff before the war.
Right.
You know, there's always some people, though, you know, that us the ones that had just started out. It was really rough.
Mm-hmm. And there wasn't like there were a lot of jobs, you know, just because he lost one job, Granddad couldn't walk down the street and get another one.
Nobody, well, a lot of people, I mean, it's just hard for you, for instance, to understand. It's hard for my kids. They don't remember, thank goodness, you know. It's hard for them to understand that things could be like that.
No, I mean, I remember when my dad went through his bankruptcy, the Chapter 11s, and I remember, I was old enough to know that things were different. I was aware that we were shopping at Kmart instead of, you know, the nice stores. But I didn't do without. But I remember that, and I know that my brothers don't remember that. And that's minor compared to what you lived.
Yeah, yeah. Says, well,
Amy will do that, Mother.
there's no sense in you taking it from here. I'm just going to have to pay rent that you keep it. They're just going to add to my problem. And the fellow says, you know, I'm just doing a job. I don't have any control over this. So that's what they did. They took it back over to Grandy's and put it in the garage. And when your dad could pay, Granddad could pay the payments on the car, then he had to pay the rent too. And he said, I can't go anyplace. I don't have no gas, no money to buy gas, and don't have any license either. So just as well off here as it would be over where you're going to take it to. Took it anyway.
That compounded the problem. It got more expensive when you add the rent and everything to it.
He did odd jobs for anybody that needed anything done, and he was just new at this, you know, but he tried to do anything that was possible to do for anybody.
And he learned how to do it on his way.
Yeah.
That's the way Jim did.
Yeah, that's what he did. And there was a couple of attorneys in Beaver, and that Holt was one of them. And he found out your dad was doing this, and he had a lot of property down in Vanport, down in Industry. You know where that was at? Anyhow, he had it boggled my mind when I found out about it. He had a lot of little houses that rented to low-income people, you know, and they were just really little shacks, and that boggled my mind to find out that he would even own such kind of property. It had to be repaired here and there, so he found out your granddad was handy this, and he called him.
That's great.
And, so he would send him down there to fix these houses, you know, and he would pay him for that. And then first, you know, somebody else would find out about it, and somebody else would call him to come and do this, put a doorknob on, or put a latch on the door, or fix a board on the porch, or fix something. And he had to do this by trial and error, you know, but he did it.
How did he get down there? Did he have a car by this time?
Well, at that time, this was after he had got his car back, and he was able to do that then. And so that helped out. That was before Maybelle was born.
Oh.
And after she was born, then we moved out to the country. Oh boy, I forgot about all those things. You know, you forget about all those things. But one thing about your granddad, he tried. You know?
Yes, he did.
And,
He was a good provider.
He was a good provider. There's no two ways about it. He
That's
tried. And
He was a worker.
yeah, he tried. And
There wasn't anything he couldn't fix.
like
or
I
wouldn't
say, he
try.
was a handyman. But he learned to do this just by
He
trial and error.
He learned how to put it together by taking it apart slowly.
No. Take it apart slowly. I don't know. You take anything apart and everything went here and went here and here. I wouldn't have done it that way. I'd have put this something here, or put it in this thing, or put it in something. He just put out, then he would put it back together. He had to look for all these parts. I wouldn't have done it that way, and I kept on telling him that.
Jim took things apart and started the first thing, the second thing, the third thing.
That's the way I
Yeah.
would have done it, but he didn't do it that way. Everything.
Hey, tell us. Get on to Cindy.
But I remember Christmas very well. It was always a lot of fun. I remember Christmas Eve was, we spent a lot of our Christmases alone in New Jersey because traveling back and forth was really hard at the holidays with our school schedules and
We were
all that. So we were mostly alone on Poe Avenue. That's my most vivid memories, is Poe Avenue.
You can't go back any more than that?
Oh, I do. I remember getting together with Uncle Don and Aunt Jerry and all the kids. Vaguely. I mean, I have a little bit of because it was always fun to be with the cousins, but I always,
You can make it skippy.
yeah, that was fun. Except that I always got hugged and kissed and mauled. You know, that was the only dread I had of it. But once we got through the hellos, you know, it was.
Well, she was pretty little.
I was little for that.
Don't you remember Uncle Don camera?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
Jimmy always associated Uncle Don with having a camera in his hand.
yeah, like this one. So, but I remember that. That's why I remember being so alone in New Jersey. We didn't go back, and I think I probably remembered that more than Jimmy and Robert. That it was just us five. That was such a change from us being part of the group. And we knew you guys were still getting together, and we were never part of that because the distance was too far, and the roads were bad, and it was a 12-hour trip then instead of
Yeah,
a
it was
7-hour
12,
trip.
yeah,
You know,
that's right.
because we had to go all the way to Philadelphia. Then we had to go south to go across on the turnpike and then back up
That was a
north
long
again.
trip.
So that was a 12-hour trip.
But after a while, when Uncle Don would come to visit, just to come in, Jimmy would say, Uncle Don camera. And he didn't even have a camera in his hand, but that's all Jimmy associated him, Uncle Don camera.
Do I remember one Christmas at your place that somebody gave Skippy a little car. When he opened this up, I think you'd given him this little car. And he unwrapped it. Just what I wanted, he said. And the expression on his face was worth a million words. Just what I wanted. I never will forget that. He couldn't have been more than 3 years old.
Yeah, Amy used to do that all the time.
But just what I wanted.
That's cute. That's cute.
But what else? What can
I
you
remember
getting?
Christmas Eve was quiet. It was just us, and it was sort of religious. I remember going to church at the Baptist church, and then coming home, and Dad would read us a Christmas story, and it was just sort of a quiet night, and just us, the five of us. And I really loved that cocooning. You know, it was just us. And then I remember Christmas morning. Plotting, either, you know, I would wake up and go get my brothers, or usually Jimmy or Robert would be the first ones up, and they'd come and round me up, and then we'd go downstairs, and I just remember lots of presents. I remember one time finding your storage of presents up in the attic, but they were wrapped, and or maybe what I found was like Jimmy's stuff. I don't remember finding stuff you bought for me, but I remember thinking, wow, the attic. You had that big closet up there before Jimmy moved up on the 4th bedroom floor.
Well, yeah,
And there was a lot of stuff
I
stored
had a
in there.
padlock, and Jimmy took the hinges off. Were you
Well,
in with that?
I wasn't in on that.
So he got took the hinges off to look.
And I remember she'd ask that we draw a card. And I never could figure out how Mother did this. And there were like 3 colors, green, white, or red. And I'd pull one, and she'd say, okay, white will be your color, or red will be your color, and the following year green was my color, whatever. And we'd go downstairs, and the presents would be all jumbled in a heap, but they'd be all red, green, white, red, green, white. They were all wrapped in tissue paper, and we each had a color. And I remembered, I mean, maybe there was a longer time gap between when we picked our color, but it seemed to me it was like Christmas morning or the night before.
The night before you went to bed, you had, because that's when I wrapped them.
Oh, I thought they were, you know.
Because I said, when you come down in the morning, you know, you'll have to look for that color, whatever color you
I
pick.
remember thinking, man, you know, I was a lucky thing I pulled green because I wouldn't have wanted those red presents.
You wouldn't want the red one.
I didn't want those red ones.
Oh,
they
that
were
is
trucks
funny.
and, you know, things I didn't, you know. I'm glad you got that because I didn't want it.
You never knew how that
I
was.
didn't, man, that was a form of magic that was beyond my comprehension. So I remember the gifts being color coordinated. Remembering specific gifts, you know, there was always a Betsy Wetsy that I wanted of some kind because that was the dolls, you know, the evolutionary dolls. And I remember getting the piano, but was that at Christmas? That was in the spring. But
no,
I just,
that was-
in terms of wanting something, like you
Uh-huh.
speak of the baton, I remember wanting
Yeah.
the piano
And
so
we-
badly.
You wanted that so bad, but we had to wait to get our income tax check back.
Okay, well then that's something I remember really, really wanting as a child. I just remember lots of paper and lots of presents, and I think we all opened at the same time. In our household, we have a tradition where everybody opens one, and we all take turns and all enjoy that child opening that gift, and then the next one we do them in age sequence, either up or down. But when we were little, we just all
Yeah.
unwrapped at the same
It,
time.
it was the excitement of the time, and I loved all the paper and the mess.
Yeah.
We left it there for it to play.
And And I remember after I opened my gifts, then I would sort of look around to see what Jimmy and Robert had gotten, because I was so consumed by looking at my own gifts that I didn't really notice what they got, except I remember when it was all said and done, I was thinking, whew, am I glad I picked the red pile? And that always worked out. I mean, it never did pick the wrong card whenever you would hand them to us. And then I remember, so that was Christmas morning, and then I remember we would play with whatever we got that day. You
Pretty
always
much
had a
all day.
game, and
Yeah.
you
we
played
always
with
had a
us.
family game or a puzzle.
And then I remember late in the afternoon when things kind of quieted down, then we got permission to go and find out what Susan got, or Leslie, or our other friends. So
But we'd pretty much be all homebound till late afternoon.
yeah. And I remember talking to you. We must have called
We'd
you on
always call,
Christmas and
yeah.
passed the phone around. And
But even it was Tinker Toys one year, and it was the Electro set. Everybody played with that all day long.
one of the highlights I remember as a child was getting Gigi. That was just, we wanted a dog and we wanted a dog, and you got a dog. You got this wonderful creature called Gigi. And then I remember when Gigi came to live with us. Wow! And I couldn't understand, it was beyond me to understand why you didn't want Gigi anymore. And then you got Julie, and that was fine. You could have Julie. She was okay. We had Gigi, and we had, you know, in my eyes as a child, that was the best dog. You know?
Well, she was good for you kids.
Oh, she was
That's
wonderful for us. She
Oh,
was-
how you made her practice with you, practice the
I
piano.
tortured that animal. Yeah, I had to by that time, the thrill of having a piano had turned into work, and it wasn't fun to practice anymore. So I thought, well, if I have to do this, you know, by
I was gonna
gosh,
suffer
somebody
alone.
else is going to suffer too. And we had that round chair that had that, what was like a barrel, not a
Barrel
chair,
chair. It was a
but it had
barrel chair.
spikes in the bottom, so it was sort of like a cage, and I could put Gigi underneath this chair and sort of angle it up against the wall, and she'd sit there and be Mrs. Place, my piano teacher.
Because you would play for Mrs. Place. Sometimes you had her right on the piano bench.
Yeah, sorry, I remember that.
But
But
I know-
Christmas was a lot of fun. I never remember feeling like, oh man, I didn't get the right stuff. I
would
always was
never
happy
mind.
with what I got.
Is there a certain food you folks had? Was there, like, you have a breakfast that was unique?
I don't remember that. I remember we ate a lot of pot roasts. I don't know if you would put a roast in or a turkey on Christmas morning, but there was a meal.
More like a roast. on Christmas.
And then I remember having spare ribs or pork roast and sauerkraut on New Year's. Remember that was always, you know, an announcement. This is the New Year's. We're Germans. We always eat a good German meal. I remember that. And I remember, you know, that was it. It was not the hoopla Christmas Eve that
No,
Greg's
we never
family
did Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve was sort of a holy night. It was a very religious night. You went to church and you
Yeah.
came home and were quiet.
But we never did that. We never had a food. There was one
Did you
tradition.
have a Christmas program at your church on Christmas Eve?
Yeah, but
Did
the
your
kids
kids
weren't. It'd be songs or always.
It wasn't a
Christmas
kids program. It
The
was
Christmas,
just a church
the kids program was like 2 Sundays before.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, not on Christmas Eve.
We always had snow. There was never any question about whether we was going to have
Oh,
snow.
really? It was
But we
always-
had snow, it snowed, and we had snow until come spring. We had snow. And a lot of times people out in the country would have sleighs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I used to like to see that.
Uh-huh.
Down past our place, Porters always had a sleigh, and had these real pretty horses. And you'd hear this bells ringing, you know, and he'd have bells on these horses. But and when everybody going out to see the sleigh going down the street, it was a beautiful sleigh, and those horses were so pretty.
With bells, you'd hear
Yeah,
jingle
you had
bells,
bells
on the
on these
horses.
horses.
Sleigh bells.
Yeah. But
And
we
you
had,
rode on the sleighs?
hey, we had snow, and that snow stayed until, when it snowed, it stayed until spring.
Yeah, that's
They used to go
what we
sled
did.
riding down Virginia Avenue.
Mhm.
They start up there where Georgie's Corner is, and they go down to the hospital.
On that road? That's
Mm-hmm.
a big road. There was a lot of traffic on that road.
Not then.
Oh.
We didn't have automobiles then.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would always block off a high avenue. For, you know, nobody was allowed to go there. That was for sled riding.
No wonder it was straight up and down.